I'm live?
Good to go.
Jonathan says I am live, even though I can't see it on my screen yet. Now he's playing with the camera. He's got me worried here. When is he going to show up on my screen?
Probably about 5 seconds.
5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll be like that delayed space flight today. Where am I? I'm not here.
I can see I can see
You can see me. Where am I supposed to be here? I'm not seeing me.
You don't see you?
Uh-uh.
I see you.
Really? How about you folks? You see me? There's this time delay here that it makes me a little skeptical that he tells me I'm live, but I can't see it. So I don't know if I'm supposed to be trusting the guy or not. There's a button that says go live. You want me to hit go live, or is that going to mess us up?
You should just hit maybe.
So I hit my channel, and now it says I'm live.
Yeah, just hit refresh, I think.
Live now. Huh. There we go. Huh. Everyone says they can see me. How you doing, folks? We are on episode number 89 of Elk Talk Live. Whew. We've been doing this a long time. I think Moby Dick was a minnow when we first started on this operation. Hope you all had a good Memorial Day weekend. Hope you didn't spend it like I did Monday morning. I went out to do a grouse survey here south of town, and then I was going to go to the Memorial Day service. Well, I ended up having a gallstone way back in the woods, and I'd never had a gallstone before, but I thought I was dying, and I ended up in the ER on Monday. Within 5 or 6 hours, it passes, and I'm like, just fine. So, anyhow, hope that your day was better than mine. It was an expensive. I got $1,000 deductible on my for emergency room visits, and then I got, I think, a $7,000 out of pocket. Whew, there goes my hunting budget. But oh well, I'm still upright and kicking, so we're happy about that. Let's see, Onyx Maps, brought to you by Elk Talk Live, brought to you by Onyx Maps. Bowtech Archery, Leupold, GoHunt.com, Gerber Gear, Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, right here. See, I brought my bugle today because so many of you ask about this, I thought I'd bring it. Tight Spot, Ripcord, and Black Gold. And if you use promo code Randy out there, you're going to save a ton of money on all those. Like Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, you save 15%. Gerber Gear, you save 20%. On X, you save 20%. Let's see. Go Hunt, you get $50 of free credit. You get your name in the drawing for the Wyoming Commissioner's Tag. And just like we said last week, the only remaining drawing left for this year for elk hunting is Idaho, June 5th. Don't miss it. We put the video out on our YouTube channel the other day. So there's no reason not to go elk hunting this year, especially I've written down all of the over-the-counter options. Not next week, but I think the following week we'll go through all those. So really appreciate all of you bringing your questions in advance here. The Instagram and YouTube questions, or Facebook questions, are really helpful because it helps us identify what we're going to talk about. And today, I brought, when you see what I brought from home, I went out to my shop with all your questions, and I'm like, yeah, that'd be a good thing to talk about. Yeah, that. So I got it all back here. It's like Mr. Rogers, right? And he had all this stuff behind the... Some of you probably are too young to even know who Mr. Rogers is. So, by the time I get done with all this, these are non-essential pieces of gear that are really, really good to have. I better turn that. Everyone will be calling me because my phone number's on that. Don't any of you reverse that and look up my phone number now because I won't answer your call. All right, what all is in here? I have no idea. I can't even remember what all I put in here. But these are just things that I use that I find to be really, really helpful and handy along the way, because so many of your questions over the last couple of weeks have just been random gear questions. Well, this one right here is a little lens cloth or lens pen. Right? You want to get the dust off your lens, you got that little jobby. And then on this end, it has the little gizmo where you can use that felt piece, and it's a soft cloth and you can rub on your lens. Because if you loan stuff to camera guys, you know how well, if you have a 3-year-old and they eat pancakes with butter and syrup, they touch the TV screen and everything else, the inside of your truck window? That's how camera guys are. Anything you give them is going to have smudge marks on the lenses. So you want to have one of these. Super handy to have. It's just a little lens pen is what it is. Mystery Wrench makes these pack covers. If it's raining, trust me, you want to have a pack cover. This one is orange. That way, if you're in a state that requires blaze orange, you've got it over your backpack and you still meet the hunter orange requirement. Some of these are also items where if you're out doing a camp, they're handy. Like this one here, you're probably wondering, what is this thing? You can pull it. It's like an accordion thing. I got to pull the plug out in order to expand it. But it's a light at night. It's a, do you even know who makes these, Jonathan? Most of the stuff I'm going to show you, I don't have a clue who makes it. But anyhow, this is a solar light at night, and you turn it on. I don't know if you can see how it's getting brighter, and then it'll go to strobe, and then you turn it off. Well, when you're floundering around and stumbling around in your pack, or in your tent, it is so nice to have this. And in the morning when you're getting up, like, oh, like, there's been episodes where I've had my underwear on inside out, and then my socks on the wrong feet, or 2 different kinds of socks. It was before I had one of these. So, who makes it? I don't even know. Empowered. Anyhow, you can pick them up at any camping outdoor store. They're really handy, and they compress when you close that little valve. They compress down really flat. Here you see 3 different first aid kits. You see a 300. These are all made by Adventure Medical Kits. A Sportsman's 200, a Sportsman's 300, and a Sportsman's 100. These kits come with pretty much everything you would need. The 300 I bring with, and it kind of recommends on here. It says 6 people or 7 days. The 200 is for 4 people and 4 days. The 100 is 2 people and 2 days. So it kind of depends on where you're going to be. Is it a backpack hunt? Is it a base camp hunt? Is it hunting out of your vehicle? Whatever. They make a 400, and I keep that in my truck because it's big and I'm never going to carry it. When we're doing llamas, I'll take the 300 because there's usually me, a guest hunter, a couple camera guys, stuff like that. And the beauty of these kits is on the back, it tells you where everything is. And when you open it up, you can actually find where everything is. I get the peace of mind of knowing that I have everything with me. Quick Clot, also made by Adventure Medical Kits. What else? If you're really going to get serious, trauma packs. Again, I do these. The great big one. This comes with a wine last tourniquet. Let's see, the trauma dressing. This takes care of a serious injury. You hope you never need them. Because sometimes I'm by myself and I can't carry all this stuff. I always carry a little bit of Quick Clot. And then this one is, it's a laceration kit. And this one, let's see, I believe this is also made by Adventure Medical Kits. It's just these little, for when you have a deep laceration, like these little wings or what do they call them? It's called zip stitch, but anyhow, it'll close a wound really easily. And they come apart, you can just grab, it's like a little envelope right there. Butterflies, that's what I was trying to think of, what they call them. So I just grab this stuff randomly because it's stuff that I always keep handy, and I have a tote at home that's kind of my, throw that in the truck because I never know if I'm going to be at a base camp or if I'm going to head out for an extra night, and I have all this stuff in that tote. So if I throw that tote in my truck, I know somewhere with me, somewhere on that trip, I have the stuff I need. This one here, one of us in the crew is always carrying a Gerber center drive. It's got all kinds of different bits. Most of these bits, you can handle anything on your bow. You'll be able to handle a lot of things on a scope or a rifle, cameras, tripods. I don't know how many repairs we do to cameras and tripods out there. And the device works like this. And it's got a lot of the other normal items that you see in these multi-tools that Gerber makes. This one's got a lot of bird blood on it. This must be the one I was gutting and gilling those quail down in Arizona, I think. Yeah, it's got a lot of, but it's got a blade. It's got all kinds of stuff in it, but some sort of multi-tool. I make sure at least one of us in the crew have a heavier duty one like this Gerber multiplier. Oh, let's see. Oh, if you're by yourself and you're wondering how you're going to take photographs, little Joby tripod. Put your camera on that. You can wrap it around things. I think this costs like $2.99 at B&H Photo, or maybe $4.99, I don't know. So, and you can get the little bracket for a cell phone. So if you put your cell phone in the bracket, it screws in here. It's the normal thread for the bottom of any of your cameras. This one will hold some of our smaller mirrorless cameras, like a Sony 6400. Is pretty sturdy. So people ask us, well, you're all by yourself. How'd you get the photographs? Well, self-timer and a little Joby. Oh, this tote here. This is a different tote. This one here has to do with whenever I decide it's time to filter some water. Because a lot of our camps, we are filtering water. So you see these bags? You're going to hear me start complaining about pump filters. I've got pump filters. Is this one of my pump filters, or is this a base camp? No, this is a base camp filter by Katadyn. This is my go-to filter. Let's see. And then another one I have here, very similar to that. Adventure Medical Kits makes this Rapid Pure right here. Again, a big 10-liter gravity-based filter. And Platypus filters. These are called the Be Free. They actually have an inline filter in them. So it's like a little water jug with an inline filter. I think that's made by Katadyn, if I remember right. Here's a pump. The reason I don't like pumps is they take forever. I mean, this thing, you got to get it in there, and you got this little pump mechanism right here. And you're just like, well, if I get even a little bit of depth to water, I can fill up a gravity flow filter, and it can be doing its thing while I'm overdoing other stuff in my camp. I know sometimes there's really minimal water sources and you have to go with a little pump like this, but I prefer a big gravity source water filtration system. If I can, here, I'll just grab this one. So, bag is up like this, the hose comes down here, and the hose goes into these. So this is a 4-liter, a 6-liter, and what's that? Another 4-liter. So I bring 14 liters here, and I can fill these up. So when I'm doing my water filtration, this is hanging up in a limb, and it's coming down here, and it's going through there really fast. And I'm filtering a lot of water in a hurry. I'm not having to waste all my time pumping or worrying about stuff. I filter water, maybe the middle of the day when we're back at camp, or I'll do it at night or whatever. If you're doing this when it's really cold weather, make sure you clear out your filter. Because if you leave water in there and that thing freezes, you're going to start getting cracking. Your filter is not going to last very long. So those are just things that were laying there, and I thought, this is stuff. Oh, here's another one. This is a Gerber Complete. I was looking for the one that it's, what it is it's a tongs, a spoon, a fork, and a spatula, and also a bottle opener and a can opener and a whole bunch of other things. We started using these about 2 years ago. I think the crew would steal my Complete before they'd steal my binoculars. Handy as a shirt pocket. We have these in pretty much every pack. Anyhow, that's what I drug here today because there were so many different questions about gear. I thought, well, I'll just show you the things that aren't absolutely essential, but they're things that I don't leave home without. So, let's see. All right, Rich Jones, you're with me. You take blood thinners and carry many items, blood clotters, butterfly stitches, and normal sutures. Yeah, I'm on a daily blood thinner also. I've had 3 blood clots, major blood clots. And when I was telling you I had that gallstone pass on Monday, it was right here where my liver blood clot was before. And I'm thinking I'm having another big blood clot. And so I got to make sure that I'm paying attention because, well, when you're on a blood thinner of some sort, you don't want to have a problem out in the woods. A bunch of questions about the Gerber knife. When and where will it be available? This is the dual tool system right here. This is a traditional folding blade. This is the tendon tool here. Idea, this tendon tool will do all your dirty work and save your cutting surface. These are going to be available next month, later part of the month. They're going to be available first at gerbergear.com, and then they're going to be available at retailers. And then this is what we call the EBS, the exchange blade system. Comes with 3 different blades, a serrated blade, a longer blade here that we call a backstrap blade, and then kind of a general utility blade that we call the task blade. Yeah, we've done videos on these and out on our website and out on Gerber's website. In the next 2 weeks, you're going to see a ton of videos about these. You're going to see us doing the full gutless method, boning and quartering. Yeah, I mean, everything it takes to get an elk to your truck in bits and pieces. We shot videos last fall using these, so those are all going to be available pretty soon. Let's see. Does anybody on our crew have medical experience? Yes, Dale does. Dale was a JTAC. He's very experienced, but until COVID came, I was going to get the Certified Wilderness First Responder course. I'm still going to do it when I have time because I'm usually with the crew somewhere. So if we have an emergency, I'm with you. I get the question. One of us should be more trained than just the general first aid that you got. You know, you took a 2-hour class one morning. So if you were, and then you say, what if there's a serious injury from a grizzly attack? Art is asking this. If you listened last week, I said if I get a grizzly attack and there's 2 camera guys, one is supposed to film it and one's supposed to help get the grizzly off me. What happens after that, I'm not sure. Let's see. Go to some of these questions here that we had on Instagram and Facebook. Where are those? Oh, I don't know if you got in the drawings, if you took our survey last week, who are the winners? So we're giving away $7,000 of gear if you take these surveys. And we've got them posted out on Facebook, on Instagram, on our Hunt Talk forum, our email list. And if you want to do it now, tonight, after this is over, you would text ELK, E-L-K, to 64600. And so the winners from last week is Jeff from Illinois, Ron from Idaho, James from Idaho, and Joel from Washington. So tomorrow we're going to be contacting them. We drew the winners today and telling them what kind of cool gear they won. They all won most of them won, all 4 of them won more than one item. So we packaged some of this stuff. So anyhow, that was one of the things that some people were asking questions about out there is how do I get on the survey? So that's how you get on the survey. Dalton Ray asks, I'm currently deployed and your show is helpful for motivation. Thank you, Dalton. Thanks for your service, most importantly. I only get a small amount of time to come to my home in northwest Colorado and hunt. I've shot many cow elk, but I want to go after a bull. What season and what time of year would you plan that hunt around? When I go to Colorado on over-the-counter hunts, I hunt western Colorado, not northwest, but western. I like the third rifle season versus the second rifle season. The reason I like that is the second rifle season's way more crowded. Yeah, the elk aren't as educated because, second rifle season is kind of like the opening volley. But in the third rifle season, the bulls are now in their full late season pattern. They're in bachelor groups, they're in sanctuary mode, and even though they're not as dispersed across the landscape, I can pick out these little sanctuaries, and I know if I go and check enough of them, I'm going to find bulls in one of those sanctuaries, and once I find them, they're a lot easier to kill than when they're just randomly dispersed across the landscape. So that's why I focus on the third rifle season in Colorado. And I know a lot of people can't do it. Like my brother, he goes and does the second rifle season because where he lives in Minnesota, deer season opens the same time as the third rifle season in Colorado. So he's got to go do the second rifle. Kevin asks, how long will you sit in glass before moving on to the next spot? Are elk patternable like a whitetail or a turkey? In my experience, if you sit long enough, something will show up if and it's the right habitat. I'll sit for a whole morning, and if I don't see anything, no sign, no good feeling about this place, then I'll go sit somewhere and I'll stay there all afternoon. And then I'll repeat the process. The next morning I'll be in another spot. The next afternoon I'll be in another spot. Elk are patternable generally, but not specifically. So understand a whitetail might only have a home range of a square mile. An elk will have a home range of lots of square miles. And to sit and wait and hope that they're going to come through that one spot, it'll happen as they are using exit routes from hunting pressure. But to just think that you're going to sit on a trail and that's going to be your tactic, it happens. People have some luck doing that, but it's a low likelihood. Just because elk live on such big landscapes and they have such large home ranges that it's less likely to happen. So, let's see. A lot of questions about the Randy Newberg rifle from Howa this week. Andrew asked, are they going to produce more? I believe they are. I think they're on their third order now. They order them, I think, at 300 at a time, and you can only get them at Sportsman's Warehouse. But I should know, but I don't, because this is a deal between Howa and Sportsman's Warehouse, but that's where you can get them. All right. Richard says, I asked this same question last week. What cuts besides back straps and tenderloin do you use when you're making elk steaks? Those are the only two things I make into steaks. I know I'm giving up the sirloin, I know I'm giving up the round, but I like to put those into roasts. So I end up with a lot of roasts, stew, burger, other stuff. But even now anymore, my back straps, I cut those into about 6-inch roasts rather than steak them. I've just found that on my Traeger, I can cook those so perfectly, so wonderfully, if I have them in bigger chunks. And, if I want to, then I can start steaking them after I've cooked them. But that's how I do it. Anymore, I'm getting to the point where I don't have many steaks. It's mostly roasts. So, Aaron asks, does hunting at altitude change what type of caliber, grain, or barrel length you use? No, it doesn't. And here's why. If there's going to be a big change in altitude, so before I even say that, the changes in your ballistics due to altitude don't really get to be real noticeable until you're out there a long distance, like over 400 yards. Most of my shots are under 400. I usually sight in my rifle right here where I live in Bozeman, Montana at 5,000 feet. Well, I'm usually not hunting too high above that or too low below that. If I know I'm going to be going up to 10,000 feet, I have a chart that tells me, all right, if it's beyond 300 yards, you need to start compensating for this altitude difference. But I'm not going to go through changing bullet type or changing the grain of bullet or barrel length or anything like that. I want to get one setup, get it dialed in, be comfortable with it, know what it does, And in the instance where I would have to adjust, I've got a chart that tells me what that adjustment is. So, Ron Bailey says, I'm planning an elk hunt in Arizona in September. It'll be a rifle rut hunt. Whew. All right, Ron. I have both a 7mm Remington mag and a 7mm 08. I've had great success with elk with my 7mm Remington mag in the past, and I've never hunted elk with my 7mm 08. My question is, which of the two rifles should I use for my hunt in September? Easy answer. Go with the old reliable, the 7mm Remington mag. If you've had great, just, no fail situation with it, stick with it. Especially with a special tag like that. I mean, a rut hunt in Arizona with a rifle, don't leave anything to chance. Go with your 7mm Remington mag. Paul says, I'm hunting northern New Mexico second week of October with rut activity and bugling still present. Will the bigger bulls be in the bachelor groups away from the herd? There's very limited entry unit with archery before the hunt, but will be the first rifle hunt in this unit with very low hunting pressure. I think I know where you're going to be, Paul. The bulls, when you're talking that second week of October, that's that weird part where you're going from peak rut to post rut. And with low hunting pressure I think your unit might start with a 5, you're going to have the older bulls hanging with the cows a little longer. But the biggest of the big bulls, there's a good chance they're already going to be off in post-rut mode. And post-rut mode, bulls are not in bachelor groups. That's late season. So they go from mingling with the cows in the peak rut and eventually starting to disperse. And when they disperse in the post-rut period, they're usually solo. And then after the post-rut period, then they bachelor up, and that's kind of my cutoff for between post-rut and late season. When they're still solo after the rut, to me, that is the post-rut period. Once they bachelor up and they're in their groups of anywhere from 2 to 8, that's late season. So I think what you're going to find is the bigger, oldest bulls are just in that period where they're starting to go off alone. Doesn't mean they won't be with the cows. I'd be in that unit with the limited amount of hunting pressure. I'd be checking those cow groups. Justin says, after last week, I'm still curious about your impact or your opinion on the impacts of logging on elk movement in a certain unit. I'm not sure if I wasn't clear, but I think logging in the long term can be beneficial. Obviously, I'm not going to go there while a logging operation is going on. I'm not going to go there 3 weeks after a logging operation has been going on. The next year, I'll start going there, and 2, 3, 4, and 5 years after that, I'll really start going there. So logging can be very helpful. It disrupts the canopy, right? It opens up, lets sunlight get to the forest floor. A lot of times after a logging operation, they'll come in and burn the slash. Even better yet, really good hunting in some of those spots. Let's see. When hunting elk during the Montana rifle season, the first week in November, would an elk bugle be worth bringing along? Well, I have one of these. I use it a lot. This is by Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. And no, I don't carry it in November. Now, I've heard some elk bugling in November. So someone would say, oh, well, I heard an elk bugle. Well, I have too. If I was hunting in eastern Montana, I've heard elk bugling out in eastern Montana well into November. So I'd be more inclined to carry this then over in eastern Montana than I would be here in the public land of southwest Montana or western Montana. So, and if you go to Rocky Mountain Hunting Call, use promo code Randy, get 15% off your order. And go practice, right? I mean, what else we got to do this time of year? Practice, practice, practice. Let's see. Chad Cunningham. Randy, I've been doing some Google Earth scouting and trying to locate a good glassing hunting area. I think I've found a few good areas in general, but I think I've found what looks like outfitter camps. Do you think it's still worth pursuing this area or trying to find another? Here's how you find out. If you are a public land outfitter, you have to file an operational report and get a commercial use permit from the Forest Service. So I could tell you just about every permitted outfitting camp in the areas I hunt in Montana because I get that information from the Forest Service. And to your point, if there's an outfitter in there, I don't go in there, not because it's their territory or whatever, but I know they're going to be there hunting it. They've got new hunters coming in every 5 days and they're going to be hunting it hard. I'm going to go find some other place. It's just the way I approach it. Now, someone else might have a different idea on that, but if you want to find out if that's really an outfitter camp, go to whatever forest it is, Gunnison National Forest, Teton National Forest, Gallup National Forest, whatever it is, and ask them, hey, can I get a map that shows where the permitted outfitter camps are? And you'll know. And then you can avoid it. Answer, or problem solved. Let's see. This one is always a hard one. OnX tries to give this information, but it's only as good as what the Forest Service and BLM give them. And so this person says, Randy, I've got an over-the-counter tag for Idaho, archery, September. I'll be coming from Indiana. I'm not bringing an ATV. With that being said, in your opinion, would you focus your e-scouting more around trails that are non-motorized? Answer to that question, yes, that's where I'd focus. How do I know where the roads are closed? Randy, you say you like road closed signs. How do I know where these roads are closed? You have to contact the Forest Service or the BLM that manages that public land in that district and get a travel management map. Now, some of them are interactive and online. Some of them aren't even online yet. They're just old PDFs. So if I was you, I'd contact that forest or that BLM district and I'd get that map from them, the travel management map. And it will tell you, okay, there will be a gate here. Maybe it's open in the summertime, but as of October 1st, they put the gate up and it's seasonally closed and you got to walk in. Or some of them say it's only open to motorized travel of vehicles less than 50 inches. Well, that's most ATVs. Then there's some that'll say closed all motorized travel. So you really got to get a hold of that agency and find out. And a lot of people say, well, why don't the mapping services like OnX have that information? Well, if the Forest Service or BLM doesn't have it digitized, OnX can't digitize it. So that kind of how that gig works. Brian says, I'm going to be hunting northern Arizona late rifle hunt, assuming a good mix of glassing and hiking. What is my temperature limit for uninsulated boots? For me, I wear them down to 0 degrees Fahrenheit. I've heard you mention you don't have particular issues with cold feet, and neither do I. So we've went through this in many podcasts, many Elk Talk Live sessions. Make sure your feet are dry, okay? Warm feet is a function of moisture management. Bring an extra pair of socks in your pack so you can swap them out when your feet start getting sweaty. And that will save you most of the time in a place like Arizona. Don't wear your boots around camp in the morning before you head to the trailhead and start hiking in, because as quick as you put that boot on, you start sealing it tight and moisture starts building up in there, sweat, condensation. Around camp, I'm wearing a separate pair of socks and a different pair of boots or shoes that slip on. And when I get to the trailhead, I get rid of my camp shoes and my camp socks, put on fresh socks and my boot, and I take off. And then if I'm up there, say it's noon and my feet are feeling a little damp, or 10 o'clock, whenever it is, I'll sit down on a rock. I'll be taking my boots off, take the socks off, hang them in a tree, let the wind dry those, and I put the fresh ones on, the dry ones, put my boots back on, and I'm off and running. And if you do that, you should be able to get down to probably 0 degrees Fahrenheit with a non-insulated boot. At least that's been my experience. Oh, and wear a gaiter in case you got snow. So Let Her Rip says, Randy, there are so many styles and fits of boot out there. How do I select one? I'll be hunting mid-September in Idaho. First of all, I'd go to retail stores and I'd try them on. You're going to find a certain platform of that boot fits your foot the best. And then, if you can, they usually won't let you bring your backpack into the store. Ask someone in the store if you can put a pack on with a bunch of weight on it and walk around. You'll be amazed at how different that might feel without a pack compared to with a pack. And you want the boot that feels the best when you have weight on your shoulders. So, and me, I prefer a stiffer boot. I want something that's going to take a little more time to work it loose and break it in, because I want that support when I'm side hilling, downhilling, and I got heavy loads. So I go for a stiffer boot. Oh, this one, Aaron. This is getting on marriage advice here almost. It says, if you're getting into elk hunting and you're late season tag, travel, muzzleloader, you got everything paid for, and you got $500 for just your hunt, what would you buy? Camo, bino, spotting scope, RMEF membership, blah, 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 blah. First thing I would do, I would buy something for my wife, girlfriend, or whoever that significant other is. Hey, you're going to get way more value out of buying that other person something. And I'll leave it up to you what you buy. Don't buy them a shotgun. Don't buy them a fishing rod. Don't buy a vacuum cleaner. Buy them something they would really appreciate. So after you've done that, then and only then would I start spending that money on other things. And all the things you rattled off, I do an RMEF membership. So right now, the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, if you go to rmef.org/elk talk, they have a sportsman's membership that me and Corey Jacobson in our Elk Talk podcast, we said we'd pay your first $20 of your membership. So normal membership's $35. The sportsman's one is $100. But with that, you get a bunch of extra stuff. You get a Gerber knife. And instead of it costing you $100, it's only going to cost you $80 because they're sending me and Corey the bill for the other $20. But we promised we'd do 500 of them. And when they got a hold of me on yesterday, I think they were at like $450. And they've only been running it for like 10 days. So if you're going to do an RMEF membership, go to rmef.org/elk talk. Sign up for the sportsman's membership. And that'll be a good use of your money, because that difference between the regular and the sportsman's membership, that money is going to public hunting access. Yeah. RMEF's already contributed more than 1 million acres of public hunting access, but they're going to keep doing more. And then after that, yeah, I mean, let me do just a pitch, right? Okay. Yeah, you get yourself a Randy Newberg Gerber knife or something. Or if, I don't know how many of you saw our Memorial Day special. Do we have that handy, Jonathan? The TACP Association? So for Memorial Day, starting last Friday, running all the way to this Friday, we said any of our merchandise that you buy at shoprandynewberg.com, we're making a $10 donation to the TACP Association, which is the Tactical Air Control Group of the Air Force. And you can get yourself a public land hunt like you own it t-shirt. You can get yourself, if you hook them, you cook them t-shirt. But anyhow, money's going to that group. And the reason that group got picked is Dale, who works for us. He spent 10 years in the Air Force and he is a JTAC. He was one of those tactical air control people. And we average about, I don't know, $6 or $7 profit on each shirt we sell. So we're not going to make it up in volume, but it's going to a great cause. So what was it? ShopRandyNewberg.com? These guys are in charge of the merchandise here. Shop dot. Oh, okay. Sorry. Anyhow, if you want to help the TACP Association, great group of people. They'd love your support. And we're going to make a donation to them if you buy a shirt. So, all right, let's see. Which mouth calls do I use specifically? Oh man, I use quite a few of them. All of the ones I use are obviously Rocky Mountain hunting calls. I'm gonna see the blue one's the Christy Titus Special cow call. I use that one. It fits my mouth so good. And so Rocky Jacobson, who founded Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, he sees me one day calling, and he's like, Randy, you're not getting a good tight seal of the air on the roof of your mouth. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm struggling, man. And so he said, here, try this. And I tried it. No, not working. So it's almost like he has me in the dentist chair. He's got his finger in there, trying to fit him. He's like, here, try this one. Little did I know that the roof of your mouth, the shape, is so critical. So I got this big flat roof of my mouth. He gets me a wider call, seals the air, boom, world of difference. So when you're trying to figure out what diaphragm call to use, experiment. Ask the guys at Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, maybe you got a really high, narrow roof to your mouth. Well, they're going to have a narrow plate and platform for that, and it's going to work way better than trying to fit a wide one, or vice versa. So when I'm bugling, the one I use is the Reaper. I'm looking right here. I pulled it up so I'd get the promo code numbers, or the product numbers. The Reaper that I use is number 135, and the Christy Titus Fury Elk cow call that I really use a lot. And it's considered the novice call. But you can make a cow call under just about any circumstance with that thing, and that's number 131. Those are the ones I use. But if you go out there, use promo code Randy, and save 15%. Let's see. Carla says, Randy, I'll be hunting the first archery hunt in northern New Mexico. Is calling a waste of time? No, it's not. Call like crazy. Should I spot and stock instead? No, even though you might not be getting a ton of answering, they're still listening and they're paying attention. Because your first archery season in New Mexico is the 1st through the 14th, especially towards the later part of that hunt, the last half of it, they'll be calling. Yeah, be calling. All right, let's see. We answered that one last week. Have I ever hunted elk in Washington State? I've not. I applied in, my son, Matthew, and I applied in Oregon this year for Roosevelt's. So this might be my year. I finally follow through and I go and hunt Roosevelt elk. Let's see. Answered that one. Oh, Eric says, what mittens should I buy? Frost River Trading Company in Duluth, Minnesota makes a chopper mitten. And this is a funny story. So my mom lives in Duluth. I grew up even further north than Duluth. So I told her, look, I got to go buy some more chopper mitts. Let's head down to Frost River. So we go there, and they make them right there. And you get these wool insert liners. They're the best chopper mitts I've ever found. They're a little more expensive, but they're so durable. So I walk in there and I buy 4 pair. And the guy behind the counter, he's like, where are you from? I'm like, oh, Montana. And he's like, yeah, we get these reports that some guy from Montana just promotes the heck out of our choppers. We can hardly keep enough of them here. And my mom starts laughing because she knows who he's referring to. And he looks at my mom, and my mom says, I think that's him. And he's like, you have no idea how many chopper mitts we sell. Good for them. Great company. Employ a bunch of local people, and happy to see them produce a great product right there in Duluth, Minnesota. So it's Frost River Trading Company. We get asked this a lot, probably every week, and I answer it about every 3rd week. How old does a burn have to be for good hunting? I usually give it a year. Yeah, you'll see some elk in there. If the fire's in May, you'll see some elk in there in September, but I usually give it a year. That 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year is when I'm really getting after it. Let's see. Chris asks, Randy, what is your opinion on the Montana shoulder seasons? You don't want to know. You don't want to know. Jerry says, hey, Randy, on some of your hunts, I notice you use a green headlamp. Why green? Because the light spectrum of ungulates, they can't see green and they can't see red. But humans can see green and red. So when I'm walking in there in the dark, you can see my green lamp. But the elk or the whatever aren't going to see my green light. I walk in there with a white light. Yeah, the humans can see me, but so can the deer, the elk, everything else. So I always carry some extra headlamps because someone will show up bebopping along. We're walking in the morning, still dark, and I look back and someone's got like this white light here. I'm like, hold on, where's your red lamp or where's your green lamp? I don't have one. So I usually have a couple spares with me. Maybe it's overboard on my part, but I just strongly feel that's it's an important part of trying to get in there, because we get in there before the sun comes up. Well, it doesn't do us any good to go in there in the dark if we're scaring everything on our way in there. So, let's see. Randy, reading the Colorado regulations can be confusing. Most every western state can be confusing. What is the cost of a Colorado non-resident over-the-counter archery tag? I think I'm going by recall here. It's in the high 600s. So, plus you need an appropriate license, a small game license, I think it is. So that's going to be about another 80. So by the time you're done with all that, you're into it $750 or so, something like that. Oh, Randy, new hunter here. His name is Reese. I'm interested in knowing what is the proper etiquette when I see other hunters in the woods. You know, it's really nice that you'd ask that, Reese, because you're going to run into other hunters. It's public land. We're all sharing this. And I'll tell you what my etiquette is. If I'm out there and someone is to that spot, or someone's in front of me heading to a spot I want to be to, you know what? They got up before I did. I give it to them. If I see somebody over on that ridge over there, I'm not going to walk over to that ridge. There's plenty of land out there. I'm going to defer to who, in my mind, is first that light is first and right. In other words, if you're the first one there, it's your right to have that spot. You know, some people are going to argue with that. I've had people come and plop right down beside us. Like, it's public land. I just pack up and leave. If someone really feels it's that helpful to set up 20 yards from us, you know what, I'll go find another spot. So I think with a little bit of courtesy, a little bit of common sense, and understanding, you know, the etiquette of being, how would you want it to be for you? I think we can all hunt out there together without being too big of a problem. Let's see. Randy, any tags in Colorado? Not that I know of yet. I think the results come out next Wednesday, a week from today. I think I'll draw my first rifle. I had 3 points. I'm hoping so. Randy, there's a lot of oil and gas roads in the area that I elk hunt. Getting away from a road is difficult. Would you set up a base camp on a limited entry hunt here, or would you move your camp every day? I've encountered that same thing, Philip, and what I do, I set up a base camp, and I'm mobile. I know that in these areas with tons of oil and gas exploration roads, you see it in our antelope hunts, right? We drive those roads because they're a mile. It's almost like a grid. Every mile almost or so, there's a road. Well, I'm not going to park here and walk while everyone else is driving. I'm going to park. I'm going to go to the next rise away from the road. I'm going to glass in there. Come back to the trucks. If you see my Uncle Larry's hunt that we did last year, there's tons of oil and gas stuff going on that unit where we were doing the elk hunt. And we would drive, I'd hike in glass and look for elk, come back, drive. It's not your wilderness elk type experience, that's for sure. But if you can draw a tag, there's some pretty darn good elk hunting to be had in some of those spots. So someone's like, Randy, there are no tags left for Colorado. Even all the over-the-counter tags are gone. Oh, would you look at this? The PETA activists say, you can't avoid us, Randy. We're coming for you. Well, just come on down. These jokers, you can ban them, Jonathan. The number of people who send me love letters who are coming to burn down my house, kill my dogs, kill me, it cracks me up. Most of them, I send them my address, and my phone number and say, let me know when you're coming. I'll be there. I'll clear my calendar. And they never show up. So they decide to show up on Elk Talk Live on a Wednesday night. Like, oh gosh. Oh well. The joys of what I get to deal with, right, folks? Let's see. Randy, have you ever had an animal you shot get taken by another hunter and tagged by another hunter while hunting public lands? No, I never have. It happened to me last year. Oh man, that's a bummer. Sorry to hear that. No, I've never had that. So Chase keeps asking, Randy, what system do you use to hang meat when backcountry hunting in grizzly country? What I do is I bring a little pulley. I bring a lot of rope, and I find a very big limb that is at least 10 feet out from the trunk, and where I can get my meat at least 10, I try to get it 15 to 20 feet off the ground, and it's just a series of ropes. If you can get it with, they make some of these little pulley systems, it makes it easier. But those can be kind of a pain in the butt to use. Dave Pacala, glad you find some humor in them, Randy. Dave, if you read my emails, if you didn't find humor in it, I'd have quit a long time ago. Randy, are you building points for Thule elk in California? No, I'm not. I think they give away 1 or 2 non-resident tags, and they get thousands and thousands of applications. So no, I don't. All right, here's the one I have to come clean on. Someone's asking, how many times did you hunt elk before you actually tagged one? 6 years, right? Here's the guy sitting here giving an Elk Talk Live seminar after now I've been hunting elk for 30 years. My first 6 years, I made every stupid mistake you can think of. I thought there were shortcuts, and there are no shortcuts for learning how to consistently find elk on public land. I didn't want to do the research and the reading and learn everything I possibly could about elk. And I never had any success. I was like, I'm the worst elk hunter, not just in Montana, on the planet. Well, I took a whole summer and I read every book I could find about elk. I wanted to know what they ate this time of year, that time of year, what are they doing here, how do they respond to this, and you guys have all heard me talk about it. The book's no longer in print. It's called Elk and Elk Hunting, or Elk and Elk Ecology, I mean. I read that, I don't know how many times that summer, and that book is like 450 pages. So I'm like, all right. Opening day in Montana of rifle season this year is on whatever it was, October 25th or something. All right, that's post-rut. Because I'd drawn this is when I came up with my little 5 calendar periods, right? All right, I know I'd never get to hunt early season in Montana, All right, it's post-rut. And I'm going through my cheat sheet, my notes here of, all right, they're going to be leaving the cows. The older bulls are going to be here. The younger bulls might still be with the cows. So this is back in the day of paper maps. And you could look at a paper map, but the only thing you could really tell was if there's a road or a creek, or the terrain and elevation if you had a topo map. Well, I go in there grouse hunting, and I'm like, all right, yeah, So this is when there was no such thing as e-scouting. My scouting was grouse hunting. And so opening morning, I go down there the night before, I sleep in my truck at the trailhead, get up before daylight, and I go out to this big flat rock that I'm like, all right, I think this rock right here this is what's gonna happen. They're gonna be out here in this post-rut period, they're gonna be feeding, and then they're gonna go disperse into this sanctuary down here. Shot a bull right away opening morning. Why didn't I do that 6 years earlier? Because I thought there were shortcuts. I thought if I went and bought 3 or 4 more new gadgets and doodads, if I had the latest and greatest of this or that somehow that was going to get me there. Nope. It was all about learning, doing the research, investing the time. And now, I don't want to say that I find elk every time I go, but my consistency in finding elk, which is the first step to tagging an elk, is miles ahead of where it was for those first 6 years when I just, I mean, some of the best lessons in life, the best learning events are failure, and I failed a lot. So that's part of what kind of drives me to be this, if you want to call it, person who shares what little I know about elk hunting. I share it as much as I can, because I remember I almost gave up elk hunting. I was so frustrated, and there were really there wasn't YouTube at the time. There wasn't all these other platforms. You just had to figure it out, and so that's, you can call it confession, you can call it whatever. It's just took me a long time. So if you're just starting and you get it done earlier, you shoot one in your second year, just look, you're so much further ahead of me than I was. But so oh, you guys are too funny. I really appreciate how detailed the questions have been. We started asking for more detailed elk questions about 4 or 5 episodes ago, and you've really stepped it up, and you're given such good questions. It makes our job a whole lot easier. Really appreciate that you're thinking it through, you're asking more precise stuff, because if it's a really vague question, it's like, well, all right, what time of year are you going to be there? Are you going to be in the mountains, or are you going to be in the foothills? There's a million variables that I'd have to get more information on, so the more information you give, the better. Let's see, Wild Hunter asks, what upcoming videos can we be looking forward to? Those of us stuck indoors enjoy looking forward to your videos. Well, Jonathan over here, he just finished shooting and editing a video. I don't know how it's going to go over. The crew talked me into this. It's kind of, they said, Randy, what are all the hunts where a lot of stuff really went bad? And back in the day when we were on TV, everything had to be perfect, right? So we couldn't show you, we only had 22 minutes of content, and the network didn't want all this bad stuff. They wanted you to shoot something bigger and something bigger and something bigger. So I've got a lot of crazy episodes that some of them didn't even make TV because, well, didn't meet the requirements they had. Well, we're digging them out. Well, this one is an Alaska moose hunt that Jonathan sits me down. And he's like, well, tell me what happened here. Tell me what happened there. I'm like, oh, you mean when the boat motor broke down? Or, oh, you mean when we missed our flight? Or you mean when the camera guy ruined the camera and we're down to one little camera? So you're going to start seeing some of those over the summer. I think on Monday, out on our YouTube channel and on Amazon, you're going to see my Wyoming mule deer hunt from last year. What else we got? We got Scott Jones's Nevada archery elk hunt yet. We have the Montana rifle elk hunt with me, Matt Seidel from Onyx, Bo Beatty, and Donnie Drake and Corey Jacobson. We've got a hunt with Gerber, Carson and Andrew from Gerber archery elk hunt. I don't think Uncle Larry's has hit Amazon yet, has it? No, I don't think so. So we still got a lot of elk hunts to come. But what else we got here? There's a ton of questions here. I can't believe how many people watch this stuff. You people are great. I can't thank you enough for all that you do. Oh, let's see. Someone says, Randy, do you ever hunt with a muzzleloader? I have a muzzleloader, but I haven't shot anything with it for, let's see, 2007 I shot a mule deer in Nevada. That was the last time I shot something with it. So I have one, but I don't use it much. All right. Deloria says, are you planning another hunt with some guy named Cushman? You know, Cush is an amazing guy. Iraqi vet. Did so many great things. He's one of my heroes, and he's so humble, and he doesn't, I don't know if he doesn't believe me when I tell him he's one of my heroes. But I don't know if we'll get a chance to do it. This year's a busy season for me. We have 2 sweepstakes winners I got to take. And in the last, so when you do what we do, you always invite, this company and that company and these people and that people and your this brother and this friend. And this year I've got 6 hunts that I've promised people to take them on. 4 sweepstakes winners, or 2 sweepstakes winners and 4 other people. So I've got a crazy season for this year. If I don't draw any tags, I'm going to have a lot of fun tagging along, helping other people. But it's it's going to be a busy, busy year. You up for that, Jay Spear? No, he's all right. He gave the thumbs up. All right. What is my go-to backcountry meal? Backcountry meal or camp meal? If it's a camp meal, it's my wife's homemade antelope lasagna that we did a video out here on our YouTube channel. We put it in freezer bags. She makes big trays of it. Put it in the freezer bags, freeze it, and then I take it to camp with us. And the crew fights over who gets the last batch of this homemade lasagna. And if she just runs out of it, the crew thinks that she's mad at him. Well, what's up, man? We haven't had any antelope lasagna for 2 trips. But if it's backcountry, I'm a chicken and rice guy. And part of that is, with my liver condition, I got to be on this crazy restricted diet. So I can't eat tons of protein. Yeah, I know that sounds stupid, right? A guy who hunts a lot is on a protein restricted diet. So I would say that that's the one, that probably chicken and rice. Do I prefer archery season or rifle season? Yes. I love them both. You give me a tag and I'll be there. I don't care what weapon it is. You name it. I'll be there. Let's see. Arizona Mike asks, I've heard Colorado over-the-counter has a lot of people. True or not? Yes, it does. It does. Just the way it is. It's kind of the catch-all fallback for people who didn't draw somewhere else. Oh, that reminds me. I went and bought my Idaho over-the-counter archery elk tag, zone A, an A zone tag. So you got to buy them for zones in Idaho. Because I don't want to be one of those people who miss out. August 1st, all of the remaining non-resident tags can be bought by residents. So there's this some pool, I don't know if it's statutory or what, but in Idaho, you can go online right now and you can buy your tag. Buy your license and then buy your tag. Well, Idaho residents can buy a second tag if they're willing to pay the non-resident price. And last year, the day after that happened, whoom, the residents scooped up all of those remaining non-resident tags. So if you're thinking that Idaho is your fallback, don't wait too late in the summer to buy your tag. Okay? You heard it here. Don't make that mistake like so many people made last year. And if you're going to do Idaho as an over-the-counter, put in for the controlled draws by June 5th. Put in for the deer and the elk and the antelope. You never know when you're going to be the lucky person. Yeah, they cap it at 10% for non-residents, but you've already bought the non-resident license. It costs you, I think, $10 or $15 for the raffle ticket to throw your name in the hat for one of the controlled hunts. So do that. Let's see. Archery season or rifle season? Which season was most successful? Depends on how you measure success. When it comes to putting meat in the freezer, it's usually rifle. When it comes to big smiles, close calls, and lots of fun, probably going to be archery hunting. Let's see. Any hunts for elk planned where you might use the alpaca rafts that you talked about with Thor on your podcast to access the area and pack the meat to and from and gear and float it out? I would definitely look forward to that. Yeah, if you follow us, maybe you don't know. I should quit making assumptions. We have a podcast called Hunt Talk Radio. You can get it on iTunes and Stitcher and Spotify and iHeartRadio and all the normal places. And we had Thor Tingy from Alpaca Rafts on there. And I think we got a promo code going with them also. It's Randy2020. You get a discount on their rafts. Yeah, one of the things we're planning this year is, all right, where can we use these Alpaca rafts? Because it's going to open up all kinds of new possibilities. The only thing we're running into is we still don't know if the states are going to let people come and travel, especially if we get another spike in the coronavirus over the summer. So we've got Plan A, which is a normal season, travel the West, do our thing. And Plan B, that we're stuck here in Montana and we can only film in Montana. It's gonna be definitely a challenge if we can only hunt in Montana. You're gonna see a lot of grouse hunting. If we get stuck in Montana, you're gonna see me doing a lot of grouse hunting, a lot of trapping, a lot of duck hunting, deer hunting, antelope hunting, wolf hunting, elk hunting, bear hunting. We can still make it work, but it's going to be different if that ends up happening. Becca wants to know if I got a spray tan. Or what was her question? What, did you change the light color or something, Jonathan? Man, I'm like, I never look like I have any color. Blame it on Jonathan. He's running the light situation here. So Dave says, hey, I really like my pack raft. All right. Well, I think Jonathan just put it up there, the alpaca raft link. Randy, do you turkey hunt? I've shot 2 turkeys in my life. I'm the worst turkey hunter that you'll ever encounter. That's why I send Dale and Marcus and Michael and others to go hunt turkeys. For a couple of reasons. One, it's usually walleye season and it's usually spring bear season, and I'm recovering from tax season. And I suck at it. So, we got any other really good ones here, Jonathan? Let's see what we got. I got to make sure I got all the announcements done. I always hesitate to do the announcements, folks, because I don't want to insult you, but I also got to make sure the people who pay to make all this content free, that they get their little bit of plug. And also to make sure that you know where you can find us and what deadlines are out there. I think 3 times tonight I've already warned you about the Idaho deadline, June 5th. Don't miss that. You can follow us on YouTube and Instagram, Facebook. Well, you're already following us on YouTube if you're watching this. Go to our Hunt Talk forum. It's a forum that's all self-guided public land hunting in the West. HuntTalk.com. That's another place. If you really want the inside scoop of what we're doing, what we're up to, and you want to interact with me, that's my home. Those are my group of guys and gals that I'm interacting with them every day. HuntTalk.com. They're just serious group of hunters, great people. Facebook and Instagram is Randy Newberg Hunter. And if we're going to keep drawing, so we've got, I don't know how many more drawings we have this summer. Every Wednesday, we're drawing more people who will answer our surveys. And here's why we're doing these surveys. We did a survey in 2015, and it was so critical. The feedback we got from all of you is what defined the path forward. It was like, guess what? We got to leave TV. We better get a podcast. We better ramp it up on Instagram, and we better ramp it up on YouTube. And we better find another platform like Amazon Prime. All of that came from that survey that we did that summer of 2015. Well, here it is 5 years later, we've not done a survey. And not only are we going to do a survey, we're going to do a series of surveys. And if you want to participate, it's great. If you don't, I understand. But those who want to participate, let's see. We have a Leupold spotting scope, Leupold binos, Mystery Ranch backpack, Kenetrek boots, a whole bunch of these. We got, Go Hunt gave us 8 $100 gift cards for their gear shop. So every Wednesday we're pulling 2 winners until we run out of prizes or run out of surveys. But if you want in on that, you can find it out on Hunt Talk. We got a link, Amazon or Facebook and Instagram we have links. But if you want the link right now, you just text ELK, E-L-K, to 64600, and you'll be in on that big pool. I think it's $7,000 of prizes. And as always, we want to thank Onyx Maps. Use promo code Randy, save 20%. Bowtech Archery, loophole.com, gohunt.com, use promo code Randy. Gerber Gear, use promo code Randy. And Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, use promo code Randy. And if you're tuning up and setting up a new bow this year, the accessories you should get are tight spot quivers, ripcord rests, and black gold sights. That's all I got to say about that. You guys are something else. Are the surveys different each week? George asks. If you log in and you've already done the first survey, it looks at some of your other questions and it'll say, hey, you said you want more elk hunting information. You'll get a survey. It'll ask you, you want to take a survey to answer even more questions about elk hunting? Or you said that you like YouTube as your preferred video platform. If you want to, you can answer this survey about video platforms. So we've, I don't know how many different surveys, and each time you go there, you can select, it'll ask you a different one. So, and you'll be in it. But we've got so much information so far. It is just crazy how much information we got. And here's the cool part about it. We read all of our comments on Facebook and Instagram and like here on YouTube, and we kind of get a feel for what all of you are thinking. But we don't know for sure. You know, I'll use an example. There are some really avid waterfowlers and predator hunters in this country. And if I looked at my emails and my messages of how many people say, please do more predator hunting, please do some waterfowl hunting, I would swear that a third of our audience were predator and waterfowl hunters. Well, those of you who took the survey know there was a series of questions about that kind of stuff in the first survey. And of the 10,000 people, only 89 of them considered predator hunting as something that they wanted as a primary focus. 100 and some wanted waterfowl hunting. Another 100 and some wanted small game hunting. 200 and some wanted black bear hunting. 800 and some wanted mule deer. 800 and some wanted whitetail. 600 and some wanted antelope. And all the rest wanted more elk hunting. And I'm thinking to myself, man, we already provide a lot of elk hunting, but they wanted even more. So what that survey tells me is even though we have a really loud and vocal portion of our audience that loves predator hunting like I do, and waterfowl hunting like I do, what the audience wants to see is elk. So it confirms what we kind of thought. Now, some of the other questions we're asking you, it's because we know we have some blind spots out there about where should we be providing content, how should we be packaging it, and we're getting feedback that's super, super helpful. So over the course of the summer, we're going to keep doing this, and I really hope that some of you would join in, and if you're interested, you'll do it, because I can tell you for sure that is what is going to set our course for the next 3 to 5 years. And we're using a survey firm out of Denver who does this for a lot of groups. And one thing they said when the first series of surveys started coming back was that, Randy, you are getting such a high response rate that your confidence interval is going to be in the high 90%. So that's a big thanks to all of you. Can't thank you enough. Really, really helpful. Here's a good one. Josh Taylor says, Randy, what chains do you use on your tires for snow? I'm elk hunting in Wyoming this winter and the roads get difficult to pass in the winter. Yes, they do. I don't know what chains to get. The very first thing you got to do is size your tires. There's places online where you go Google tire chains. It'll ask, okay, put in, is it a 275 R15, blah, 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 whatever you got. Know what size of tire you have. And then it'll ask you what class of chain do you want on the chains, because there's some that are like heavy duty that I have where 2 sets, like the front and rear chain, you're like, man, I can hardly carry this. Or, the left and right chain, you can hardly carry it. But they're stout. When I chain my truck up with those heavy duty chains, I'm going. Now, you might not have the clearance up front on the front tires. So you might have to run cables. There's cable chains up on the front. And just know that they break easy. So go online, do the research of what fits your tire. And that's going to tell you what it is. And then once you find out what fits your tire, you're going to be able to select what gauge of chain. In other words, the diameter of the steel, of the links in the chain. And that'll answer it for you. The one time I left my chains at home, those of you who watched it in 2011, I got stuck in Wyoming in a blizzard. Had to get towed out by the game warden because I had some less than perfect tires. So, all right. What do you think? Jonathan, we got anything more? All right, let me see. Oh, here we go. Roy, you must be reading some of our survey responses. Roy says, more elk hunting, less gear. Maybe a Gear Talk Live. How about a Gear Talk podcast? I wonder what people would think about a Gear Talk podcast. It's definitely on the whiteboard as a consideration. So there will be survey questions about that. The other thing you're going to get is a survey question about, do you want an app for all of our content? Because so many people say, Randy, you got Amazon Prime, you got YouTube, you got Facebook, you got Instagram, you got Hunt Talk, you got Elk Talk. I can't follow it all. Put it all in one place. So we're wondering, if we built an app, would anybody download it? Or would anyone use it? So anyhow, I think that's it for tonight, folks. Thanks for being here. I think we're going to be here next week. Next week is what? June 3rd, Jonathan? I think so. Next Wednesday. Anyhow, we'll let you know. We'll give you advance notice. But thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Y'all have a great evening. Take care.